Hello everybody in YouTube land and welcome to another pseudo list video. It's not really a list video, it's kind of a list video, but last week Daniel and I did 10 of the strongest allies where you know what, let's just go to this next little slide here because it's going to kind of talk about this. So recently Daniel and I released a video where we ranked the top 10 strongest allies. Well, we had a solid top 10, we wondered where our biggest difference of opinions were, and we're covering that in today's video. So consider this 10 allies that we had the biggest difference of opinion on. Wow, what an exciting pseudo list video for all of you. To give some further context, we ranked each ally on 3 different metrics to determine our ranking. The first metric was the ally's power, how strong the ally is at its peak. The second metric was the ally's versatility, how many different places is that ally valuable. And the last one was the ally's impact, which covered how the cost of the ally compared to its impact on the game. So we're going to talk about the differences that we had for these 10 allies, 5 for each that we kind of differed more. So like one that I rated higher, some that Daniel rated higher, and it's kind of just like going to alternate between the two. But I think there's some cool stuff to be had in this discussion, just to like seeing some trends in how you and I rank things, how we view power, how we view versatility, how we view impact. I think there's a lot of cool stuff here. Also, I have the same shirt of you. I should go quickly just put it on. That'd be really funny. This is the new uniform. Yeah.
This was it's a follow-up joke from you wearing the Goofy shirt from last week.
No, it's perfect. That's perfect.
Yep.
All right.
That's what.
No, it's good. It is really good. We have a continuity here in the Playing Board Games universe. So. All right. So our first one that we have here is Alice Luxley, which you ranked 677 for power, versatility, and impact, and I rated 675. So this one, you rated 2 higher on impact than I did. So I think it's probably only reasonable if I start with kind of this discussion. Because we agree on 2 parts of this Alice Luxley rating system that we had here. The reason why I only gave her a 5 in impact is because, like, while she does give you +1 book, I don't think that there's really, so I think that what I actually have noticed in these rankings when I was putting this here is the difference in our perspective when it comes from a Johnny rating cards and a Spike rating cards. I think that there's such a big... and it's not like, this isn't like a crazy difference between the two of us, right? Like, this is very minor still, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's like these little flares that I look at this and like, I already kind of imagine what you're going to say, and you could probably already imagine what I'm going to say. And what I'm going to say is that she does nothing when she comes down, right? Like, she gives you some soak, which is all right. Like, 5 is like an average impact when it comes down. She doesn't really move the board in either direction, right? It's not like it's a negative impact when you play her. But you need to find an enemy to get the clue, right? Like, so you need to get, the other way around. You need to have the clue to get the enemy damage. The +1 book is nice, but I think the majority of fighters, apart from like Carolyn, don't really want to be using this sort of effect, at least in terms of my like Spike perspective. Like, I'll definitely never disagree that like Roland Banks would want to play her, right? Like, and that's like where like the versatility, like I could even see like a case where Joe Diamond would want to play her. So like that's, I think, where like the versatility starts to like find a home. You know, bring out Carson, bring out, I don't know, some weird ass like, I don't know, Vincent Lee deck if you want to get a little bit crazy, right? Like, there's all these homes that she could play, so the versatility is good. But I think, like, especially at lower player counts, her impact is pretty average. So that's why I ended up giving her a 5.
Yeah, I feel like you're just making the points for me. I find her to be a great ally for... I mean, she's got the stat boost, and probably our difference of opinion here comes from... I don't think... in terms simply of like, am I the fighter or anything else, but rather Guardian class can do all kinds of things, and this kind of enables that. You still get the auto damage, which doesn't run out of usage, which I think is really cool. I really like that. But you're not just playing her in a, I don't know, Nathaniel Cho deck, right? This goes in a roll, and this goes in a a Carolyn, as you mentioned. I can see it in a Tommy, a Marion. Like,
Hmm.
there's lots of ways to discover clues. Don't have to even do the investigating. Like, the +1 isn't necessarily what gets you the damage all the time. I played this in an Ashcan Pete to get a third point of damage onto some allies or some enemies really quickly.
Hmm.
Plus, shit's aloof. She's really good at sniping birds out.
Yep.
So, I mean, she lives in a spot where like you have to know what you're doing with her, rather than just like, I guess I'll add this ally to my deck. But she's level 0. So to
Mm.
me, and I think this is another thing that we probably are rating the impact a little differently, is that it's so easy to put this into a deck and get some value out of
Yep.
it, and then later you can go somewhere else, I suppose. So I just think that she gives you a lot of good numbers here, and if you're not the deck that wants her in the first place, then she's probably not going to make an impact. But if she is, then she's going to do the thing that you want pretty quickly. And I've seen her just do a lot of good work in decks that didn't seem like they were very good in the first place.
A big thing that I actually, because impact was a hard thing to like rate these cards on, especially because
It
we're
is.
like trying to rate them in a vacuum. So kind of
Yeah.
my perspective for impact was if I drew that card and I had like everything I needed to pay for it, how much would it change the game? And I think
Hmm.
that like all for me the thing about Alice Luxley that made it so it was hard for me to see how she changed the game was that, I mean, you know me, I'm not a big fan of like cards that require other effects to be able to trigger reliably. So
Hmm.
like I don't think Alice Luxley is like bad. I mean, like I gave her like a 6, so she's like above average power rating, right? But I was very stuck on her impact because I was very stuck in that kind of like, but what does she actually do without anything else to help her? Which I don't think is bad by any means, but it does impact the impact for me personally.
And it is true that you can't use that second part unless you have something to use it on. And if you're playing Scarlet Keys, like, yeah, this is like always relevant. If you're playing other sorts of campaigns, maybe not.
Hmm. Yep.
And you have to wait around for that to happen. But for those that have Guardian access, like, how else do you get the +1 book? And probably a lot of people say, I don't want the +1 book. Well, okay. But at level 0, I don't think anything else gives you that, right?
Yeah. No, I can't off the top of my head when I quickly just scan through the Rolodex. So if you do need
Yeah.
it, yeah. But it's funny because in this conversation, that is actually more of a versatility rating for
Yeah,
me. So
you're right. You're right.
like that's where like, but again, like this is just to give context. Like even though people I've said in the past they want us to disagree more, this is just in the
Hmm.
context of like how we're viewing these things
Hmm.
with this metric that we have given ourselves to try to review them in.
And I think like the stat boost, you've mentioned this too, is like an impact. Like, I can play my Janae Beauregard and then immediately clear off a location because
Yeah.
I have all my other stuff in play too. That extra book boost is going to be really good. Um, I just think that this probably lets you do that more than you might expect if you're
Yeah,
playing a
like
deck that wants it.
If you're Carolyn, yeah, like it's the
Right.
exact same thing as Janae, right? You get the 3-shot locations with your 5 book now. But the thing that I'm always stuck on with that is, you know what also does that? Magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass. All right, so you're Tommy. You're Tommy or Marion. I don't know. Someone else that has like a
Yeah, that
reasonable
does get
stat
you to
rating.
4. It does get you to 4,
Yeah.
which helps you beat 2 shroud locations, which is pretty nice to be able to do consistently. In that case, it's really good for that. That is 100% the truth. All right, let's go to our next card here. And funny you say Janae Beauregard because she's next on our list. This one actually had a pretty big difference of opinion. So you gave it
Hmm.
986 for power, versatility, and impact, and I gave it 10-10-9. I think
Yeah.
she's this. I think she's actually stronger than Olivier in terms of like. I think she is the strongest ally in the game for me personally. Even with the 5 XP, which I actually also I want to before we get into this one thing I found I like, and this is what I was looking at because I was like, how did we rate Michael Lee in
Yeah.
comparison?
Yeah.
And I think that we both rated it 6 for versatility, which I think is pretty fair. He's very narrow in where he can go. I think he has like, honestly, you could give that guy a 4, and it would probably be a pretty accurate rating for his versatility. For power, it was you did 8, I did 9, and then for impact, you did 9, I did 8, which I think looking at at least in my own personal rating trends, I think that Michael Lee was actually a little bit above where I would have probably put him in Impact if I thought about it a little bit more. For if I look at it now, but that's when I locked it in there. I'll let you start with Janae here.
Yeah, and I've had to sit on this for a week too, thinking about it. So, what I said last week in that video was mostly based on the XP and the resource cost. Like the 5 resources to drop Janae down on, say, turn 1 prevents you from doing pretty much anything else. That's okay, right? Like she does so much on her own. I'm not here to say that she's a bad ally. That's clearly not what we're doing here today. But honestly, a lot of my lower rankings come from I haven't seen her played in a long time. Probably not at all since the taboo list, which could be for multiple reasons, right? Like the community, or at least people that I've played with, are tired of her because she's just so darn good. Maybe she's a little boring because you're kind of ignoring part of the game if you were able to move around clues or non-elite enemies. That could be part of it too. So I have a harder time like seeing exactly what some of these cards do because I haven't seen them with the full card pool. I know you've talked about this too. Like if you haven't seen a patron bring a card to a patron game day recently, it's like, well, why not, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel that way about Janae. And it's not necessarily about her power, which is maybe an unfair thing to say with this sort of ranking. Although I did give her a 9. I think she's really, really good. But she doesn't actually discover clues right out. Like compare her to Lola, who also is, level 3 and kept at level 3. She only costs 3 resources. And she actually progresses the game state forward. Like potentially Janae does that too, because you just get problems out of the way. But at some point, you probably need to spend clues, so I do find that ability to be really nice for 3 XP for Lola. So that's kind of where I sit with her. It's this mix of the impact here is that it's not just that she does something really good, but she costs so much that now she puts you a bit behind to playing other sorts of things, and that can be a problem, potentially. But she's strong. Like, I don't think this ability should exist, but I'll keep that bias as best I can out of the discussion of the power.
I mean, I think honestly, you might even be right a little bit because I've only played her, I think, like twice since the taboo, right? The taboo does put her into a more reasonable place. So like this might be echoes of when she was 3 XP and was like broken, right? So like even on my own ranking, like some of this like might be echoes of that. But I do think that, I think that your assessment is actually pretty spot on, where she might just be, like, Cyclopean Hammer levels of boring to, like, have at the table and play with, right? Because she does just kind of, like, nullify a lot of problems, right? Like, the fact that you could just use, like, a shortcut to move to a location, or God forbid, you, like, combo this with just any sort of other, like, free movement effect that's, like, permanent, and you can just like nullify enemies that you draw. You're basically water protectioning 5 enemies that you draw during the Mythos phase, right? Like that's a crazy thing for her to have. But this might be one of those things where like, yeah, at 3, it felt like very 10 out of 10. But maybe, yeah, it comes down a bit, and like maybe the impact does reasonably go down when it is 5 XP. But I've also never seen people, like, patrons haven't brought, like, Cyclopean Hammer to the table, but I think that, like, and that's an interesting question that I think you brought up. Like, is this more on the lines of that Janae is just so dull, or is she actually in a more reasonable place with this 5 XP chain?
I mean, it does, take a chunk if you're going to run 2 copies, right? That's 10 XP out of your, 19, 29 XP standalone. That's not nothing. So you make some trade-offs, right?
Yep.
And I will say, like, to be fair with these rankings, I don't think we spent a whole month exhaustively researching every ally and thinking deeply about it. I probably could move her up to like a 7 instead of 6. And I don't know. I can go either way with some of these ratings. You can convince me. I'm easy to convince on some things. Not on everything, but I can look at this and say, she's really good. But yeah.
But yeah, no, I also personally believe like the gut rating is a very good way of doing this. So it is, yeah, it's like one of those things where I think if you asked us to rate the exact same list like a month later, it would change. Yeah. It would change.
It would.
Yeah.
A little bit. You also said that you just took the power ranking from your top 300 cards or whatever it
Yeah,
was of
for anyone that
Arkham.
was in
So
there, if you were in like the
yeah,
top 10, you're like top 15, you got a 10, and then it was like 9 for like top 20, like top 50ish. Yeah,
so you have thought about this before. So I
yeah.
haven't in this way. I didn't have much to go back on other than just like, have I seen these allies before? And
Hmm.
we'll probably repeat this refrain in a bit too. But I also think that the level 0 cards are really strong. I think
Yeah,
just the fact that they cost nothing bumps them up, and you have to be really, really like game changing to me. And I know that she changes the game, but like something where everyone just goes, "Wow, we're all safe now." Um, with like Garish, to make it worth the XP and the resource cost. And for her, I mean, she helps the player who has her, but I don't know about anyone else.
yeah. It is very funny. Well, I mean, it does let like if she moves into a location with an enemy, she can move that enemy to the location she left if it's engaged with another player, which is
That's
like
true. Yeah.
pretty. It's a gameplay loop that should not happen. Like enemy movement should not be free, and I know it's not like she's not free, but she's like that ability is kind of close to free on her.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
But sorry, you were saying something that I really vibed with that I've lost, and I have not gotten it back. But
It's gone. Sorry.
no,
I
it's
don't know what it
gone.
was either.
It's gone forever. But yeah, uh, yeah. I think we should just move on. Leave Janae in the
Yeah,
dust.
let's do that. Bye, Janae.
Guard Dog 2. So you gave it a 978, and I gave it a 778. So I think this one's
Wow.
actually going to be pretty simple for my conversation. This guy was in my top 300 cards, but he was in the top 300 to 200. So
Hmm.
I think he's a very good card. But that's the big reason with this. I had like at the start of this, I just had a system where I was like, oh, if you're in this one, you get a 10. If you're in this, all the down to 7. And this guy was in the top 300, but not in the top of the top 300. So I bumped him down to a 7 because of that, because that was just the metric I had. If I had to
Okay.
defend this point, I have a hard. I think that Guard Dog 2 is good, but I would not be upset if I had Guard Dog 0 in my deck until the end of the scenario. And I actually remember what I was going to say about Janae from the points that you were talking about, and it kind of
Ah,
carries over into Guard Dog, is that I actually don't think there are assets that when someone puts into play, I'm going to say, ooh, we're probably going to win the game. And I think there's actually realistically only one ally that I have that thought with. Maybe two. One of them is Gurish. One of them is Dr. Milan Christopher, just because
mm,
he is so efficient at level 0 if you get him on the first turn, right? But like allies don't really have the same thing where none of them really feel necessary, right? And I think that that's kind of a thing that kind of carries over into this guard dog thing here too, where like a lot of these cards are just value. But in the Guardian class, I would rather get card draw. I would rather get
mm.
like weapons that are stronger. I would rather get all this other stuff. I'd rather buy before Guard Dog 2. Like I like Guard Dog 2 and I think Dog 2 is very good. But again, if I compare him to his buddy Guard Dog 0, I still feel like I'd be happy in scenario 8 with Guard Dog 0, which makes me value the power of Guard Dog 2 a little bit less personally.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah, looking at this, I'm like, nine? Nine's a little high. What was I thinking last week? Um, just compared to the ones I gave 10 to, but maybe I needed to give this cute doggo a little bit more for being non-unique. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the exhaustibility to engage an enemy is just so good.
It's very good.
Maybe I value the tech stuff a lot more too. Like we talked about with Alice. I want something in campaigns where I know it's a problem to get enemies to be engaged with me, like old stupid aloof whippoorwills. In a larger player count, also this is really nice to just grab an enemy off of someone else. Thorns, I think, is just very strong. The
Yep.
testless damage is really good. I know you get that at level 0 with the guard dog too, but the free engage and the extra health and the sanity business here, there's so much that works with the guardian card pool to make this guy even better than what's on the card itself. So I don't know. I've just had really good experiences with him. In fact, his 3 cost, sometimes I think this is better than B Cop 2, just because of the testless nature of the damage that he can do.
I think that's fair, yeah. And the soak
It's
that comes
close
with
though.
it.
And the soak, yeah, it's close because yeah, I don't know, like B Cop 2 is extremely strong, I think, and didn't make our list, but I think does a really nice job for Guardians that want to fight. But if you have maybe the skill test part already solved in some other ways, then this guy goes up in value because I think the action compression is just a bit more than just the auto damage that the Beat Cop can do. So I don't know, they're both really good, but maybe I just gave a little extra bump here. Maybe he's really an 8.5 if we were doing
Yeah, but you gotta
academics,
round
but
out. You gotta be friendly. He's a cute little dog, right?
yeah.
I think that this is actually a thing that when you talking about there made me also realize that the ability is very good with that, like, exhaust, engage an enemy, it attacks you. But, like, I think this also, some of our ratings obviously come down to, like, our own personal play patterns. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, I try to rate, like, whenever I look at cards and, like, kind of, like, assess them, I try to look at them in, like, the grand picture when I've seen other people play them as well. But your own personal biases are going to just, like, be the commanding force behind any sort of, like, rating system that you do. And when I look at guard dog, and, like, the ability on the engage is very good, but when I talk about how I would, like, play guard dog zero and be happy, that's because, like, a lot of, like, if I'm trying to do a try hard sort of, like, this style of fighter build, I'm just gonna have two survival knife twos in play and just grab the guy with my engage action instead.
And you could
Like
do that.
yeah, it's like that's the thing, right? Like the tempo is very good on the guard dog exhaust on the engage here, right? But it's like where you find your tempo can really, like, come in where you assess the value of a card, right? Because,
Mhm.
like, if I was gonna, like, look at my guard dog zero and I wanted to upgrade it to guard dog two, I would be like, I think I'm gonna buy two sweeping kicks instead, because in my mind they kind of do the same thing, but, like, sweeping kick feels stronger to me, which is very interesting when it's, like, kind of getting away from, like, the dialogue of this video here. But I think that this is, like, where card assessment can kind of come in that kind of stuff as well. Because, like, maybe this guy does deserve a name. Maybe, like, eight's the number. I'm thinking maybe I'm a bit too low. You're thinking maybe you're a bit too high, right? Like, maybe eight is where this guy should be.
Yeah, and there's like recency bias. I recently played him in a York deck where you get two of these in play with your charisma. You
Mm.
take a attack, put one horror on one damage on the other. Now you're doing two
Two
damage
damage.
back.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
It's really good. And then they die, and you just recur them anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, of course, he can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can do the survivor knives on top of it. Now you're doing even extra damage. I don't know. I mean, as an ally, right? We're talking about the allies. I think for the slot, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and actually, so what's really cool? This is actually really neat. So I'm looking at guard dog 2 and guard dog 0 here. So guard dog, we both gave guard dog 0 an 8 average. I did 888. You did 789.
Mm.
That impact makes total sense for a level 0 card, right? Like, he really does change that. He asks very little. Guard Dog 2 at a 7.67 average. You also gave it an 8 with a 978. So, like, you viewed that the impact was a little bit lower, which makes sense because the XP cost is a little bit higher. The damage is, sorry, the power was like 9 as opposed to 7, which makes sense because of the ability. I gave it a 778, so I actually viewed the power as a little bit lower, which is kind of crazy in retrospect. Like, maybe like 878 would have been better, right? Like, it's, again, this kind of the same thing, but I think this is very interesting to look at here, and why, again, this is all kind of gut feel for how we're doing this for these cards.
And this is a nice, friendly conversation. Sometimes you get in heated debates with people online, and then you have a little back channel with your other friend on Discord saying, that person's crazy. But, this is a nice, we have some differences of opinion, but not ones that we're gonna, like, stop being friends over. So, cool.
And if this is the last video we release, we did stop being friends over this.
Yeah, wait till we get to the other allies where I'm like, I was friends with Justin before, and now I think he's just, who
Yeah.
knows what he's
Yeah. All right, let's keep this going here
stolen
with
shirt, and then I didn't know.
this one that you're a bit lower. So this one actually is a pretty low rated ally. This is Cat Burglar. I gave it 667, and you gave it 546.
Do I start on this one?
Yeah, sure. Why don't you start?
Uh, I think I've played this guy like a couple of times, and that was enough. I do think that the ability is like fine. It does something. The +1 foot is good. But man, all these other allies we've looked at progress the game state in some really meaningful way. Yeah, okay, I'm done talking about this guy, I suppose.
Yeah, so we didn't rate this guy high, as you can see, for both of us here. So Cat Burglar, I had a 6.33, you had a 5, which is like a perfect average rating for a 5.67 between the two of us. This guy walked so Lawrence could run. Is kind of like, sorry, Olivier could run,
Olivier,
not Lawrence. Yeah, Olivier could run. Because this guy is kind of just like a worse version, like a much worse version of Olivier. Like I would say on average about 4 points lower than Olivier with this, what we have here. However, with all of that said, I think that this ally is more impressive to the level that I gave it a 6 than he actually was. I think that this ally was actually underplayed because when he came out, there was no reason to make your foot higher, right? And then when there were reasons to make your foot higher, he just never, like, there were other ways to do it. But I brought him into decks. I brought him into this unconventional like Leo Anderson deck, and I've played him in Finn as well. I've played him in a few places. But the big thing that matters is that from a perspective of when would I play Cat Burglar, 1, it's when you want your foot to be better. 2 is when you're playing a deck that's bad, which is a really funny way for a place to have an ally be, right? But if your idea is that you are not here to kill enemies, right? And you're moving away from enemies. Like, this is an effect that is actually like a really good. So this is like a 2-cost event that they had to taboo it from an original one. What is it? What is that card called? The
Elusive.
Elusive. Yes, thank you. Where you were able to move to any location and they tabooed it to an adjacent location. Like, so the idea is that that ability to move in a panic situation is very powerful, right? That is a very powerful line of text. However, you can't really take advantage of that. And you don't really, like, that's not the strategy that is the winning strategy, which brings this guy to the lower rating where we gave him a 5 and a 6, right? Like, neither of us are here trying to tell you that this guy is a good ally. But if you're ever playing with a limited collection, this guy does fill a hole that will be pretty valuable. The +1 foot is very nice for the rogue class, like assuming you don't have like Lawrence at your side. I'm not really doing a great job of trying to sell you on Cat Burglar, but that's because I'm not like in Cat Burglar's corner for like, I mean, look at my rating for him, right? Like, I don't think I think he is above average for an ally, but the reality is that most allies are above average. Like, there's only like probably maybe a handful of allies that I would say are outright bad allies, right? Mm-hmm. And Catbug is definitely like knocking on the door for it. But I also have been in enough situations where I've been playing Cat Burglar, and the ability to just like move from a bad situation, like maybe you are accosted by spiders and there's dozens of them, and you can just be like, okay, well, I'm going to get 2 locations away and then get ahead. Or alternatively, in that Leo Anderson deck, I'm going to get away and then throw a stick of dynamite in the location I just left, right? Like, you amass a murder ball and then kill the murder ball, right? Like,
yeah. I think I've theory crafted all that stuff too. Like, there's an interesting Cat Burglar, Leo Anderson, like with, what is it, marksmanship or something, where you then can use, or telescopic sight, whichever one it is, so you can fire into the
that's the one.
location.
Yeah, Bryn did that once. Yeah, and then he got tree hands, cool. Of course. Yeah.
But like in general, how many times do you need to use this ability per scenario?
And the answer to that is optimally 0, right? Like, that's like the thing that makes Catbug like pretty rough and pretty fair with where these ratings are for him.
And even if the answer is 1, that's what elusive is for, right?
Yeah. But elusive doesn't give you +1 foot. Like, so the thing is, I think that like, I feel like Catbug, these opinions are from someone who has always had all the cards, like when you came, because you came around like Innsmouth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So Lola Delilah existed, yeah.
Yeah, there was a reason why Bryn was ecstatic about like any foot cards that rogues get, because there was none, right? Like it's like it was a problem that he was kind of like immediately like kicked to the curb because Lola Santiago came out in the same, like he basically had lock picks, right? And then Lola Santiago came out in the next set, and that kind of just like eliminated the one release window that Cat Burglar had to make him relevant. But this is also the case of like with the rogue cards when they first came out, had absolutely nothing, and Leo DeLuca was just better than Cat Burglar for that. But when you had the ways to start using your feet, you only had Skids O'Toole, who did have 4. This is played a lot in Wendy in the early days too.
Right. She had no way to fight, really, other than backstep.
And that's kind of where the 6 comes in for my versatility. But again, I'm not trying to sell you guys, anyone here, that Cat Burglar is an amazing ally. But if I see him in a draft, for example, if I see him in like a limited environment, his ability is very relevant, which again goes to the point that the only time you're playing him is if your deck is bad. But he is going to be the best card in your bad deck, and I actually do promise you that.
All right, I'll agree with you there. Like I want to like this guy. I mean, this is the Lola and Delilah thing. If I'm spending XP on an ally, 1 XP is a really hard sell.
Yep.
And I know there are folks among us who love level 1 cards, but because there are other options that do kind of the same thing, then I want to save the 2 XP and the resource cost. I mean, this guy does cost 4 still to put into play, and just play Lola or Delilah if I want the foot boost, or literally anyone else if I want to do something else.
Yeah. Yeah, like
go ahead.
If the chapter 2 cards were released today, and like, but it was just like the core, like if it was like core released today, but like with no other changes, like, because obviously Lawrence is like the new Cat Burglar, this guy would be a level 0 card. If it was like just like chapter 1 core set 1 for 1, right? Like he doesn't keep up with the power, because exactly that, right? Like I could see you putting in this deck if he was level 0, but you're not chomping at the bit to pay 1 XP for these kind of effects.
No, I mean, it's a cool tech card. Probably what happened for Devour Below is you get all those cultists in the middle of the map, and then you just run through them. They don't bother you again, and they said, well, that's a cool play style. Let's make that worth, an XP. But yeah, it didn't really materialize into any more than that. So
it's funny. That's 100% probably the case, and why there's all these effects and dreams of what Arkham, like, especially you can see this in like the Dunwich era and the first core, and even into Carcosa, where there's these ideas that this is what Arkham was, but the tools they gave never had that happen. So designing around these moments that players got better at avoiding ultimately led to cards that just did not see the light of day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all those early traps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to our next guy here, which is Widden Green. You gave her an 898. I gave her a 777.
Jackpot.
Hey, let's go. Money starts falling. Yes. I'll start. I think Widden is good. I do not see what everyone else sees in her. I think that's kind of like the big thing. I every time I've looked at Widden, I was like, yeah, she's good. Right? Like, she's good, but I don't see what she does differently that, for example, Research Librarian or Dr. Milan Christopher do. I'm not here to pretend that she's bad, because I've again, like, she gives you a stat boost that's dependent on something else, but she helps you find those things, right? Like, if you're doing a combo, I think, like, more for the relics than the tomes, right? Like, if you're digging out the Pendant of the Queen, right? Like, you're doing, like, digging those out, like, that is a nice use case for her. But even then, it's like, I'm like, okay, do you know what also does that? Intense card draw. right? Like
Perception
that's
too.
yeah, perception too, right? Like that's also giving me a clue in the process. Like I'm not here to say that Widden's bad. 777 I think is again like a good ally, but I'm just not a Widden green truther.
All
And
right.
more power to the people that like her, but it's just that I think her effect is fine and good rather than great for me personally.
Okay, I'll make my case, sort of. It's okay. You don't have to be convinced. Okay, Impact. She costs just 2 XP and she
Yep.
gives you 2 stat boosts basically 95% of the game. Very rare that you're not going to have a tome or relic. If you didn't, why is she in your deck? If you're Luke, right, the level 2 means that she can be an off-class investigators. This just is always +1 to both of those stats, which are highly relevant. She's got a lot of soak. 2-3 is a huge improvement over the 1-2 of Dr. Milan at level 0. That is relevant, I think, enough to make it worth talking about. And then the search effect plays really nice with a lot of the secret card pool. So your astounding revelations to refill secrets on the books that you're playing, extra resources, whatever else you're looking for. Like Mandy really, I think, likes her too. Is good. And this is not just like a one-time search. You get to do this every time you move around, which is also a seeker thing. So I feel like the
Yeah.
9 in the middle there is because I can't think of a deck that I wouldn't say, I bet she would be good if I were playing tomes or relics, which is also a huge variety of the cards. So I don't think she's like the number one pick overall because Dr. Milan can just do so much for you no matter what the deck is, because he doesn't have any restrictions and he's level 0. But if you're gonna play tomes or relics, she can pretty much do a lot. I think the card draw part, or even if you're not drawing anything, you're just doing the search to look for the research cards, is fantastic. So that's what makes her really good for me.
Yep.
And I have a great time playing her every time. I mean, also, when you're sick and tired of playing Dr. Milan, sometimes you say, let's play someone else. And
Yep.
maybe because she gets the level 0 version and a level 2 version, that's the path you want to go down.
It's
I
actually
really like the willpower boost, though, too. I think it makes a lot of sense for
I like
Luke
it, especially in Luke. It's actually funny because most of my time playing Winning Green is because I'm like, okay, I should play someone different than Dr. Milan, and she's like the closest thing to him in my mind. I don't disagree with anything you said, right? Like the big sticking point for me for Widden is just that, again, like if I had the choice, so like I'm upgrading my deck, right? And if I'm not trying to dig out a million relics, I'm looking at 4 XP for 2 Widdens, or I can buy, as you said, 2 Perception 2s, or one of the fast draw 4, or draw 3, right? Like, and those just win out for me, just in terms of my own personal play pattern. But I think everything you said is right. I also look at like the impacts. Like I think like 8's very fair. It's a little bit lower for me, like because you need to have something else again to turn her on. And while she enables something that Alice Luxley, for example, doesn't, because that was a conversation we were having earlier. That's still, as I said, a sticking point for me, right? Because like I've actually seen in some patron game days where they get Winning Green down, and like this might be a deck issue, it might be a luck issue, but they don't get a tome or a relic for a few turns, maybe because they can't move or they whiff on the first one, and then it's like they paid 4 XP for Soak, which is not bad, but Seeker also has the best horror healing in the game, right? And they just like never take damage. So it's like, again, there's all these things, like the perfect storm of the assessment where we kind of just like vibe out our things here. What did I give level 0 Widden? I feel like I might have given her all 7s as well. Oh no, she wasn't on the list. She wasn't
We
on the
didn't
list.
rate her. Yeah.
Not yeah.
Although I think she's fine for level 0.
Yeah.
Probably, well, two things. One, I know that overall I rate Soak higher than you do, just probably play style kind of thing.
Yep.
So I have great memories of playing her in Ursula, and sometimes Ursula just has to take 2 horror. There's nothing she can do about it.
True.
And there you go. Here's a place for it. I'm playing her in Mandy right now, and she does great work, I think, overall. Even Mandy like can use some other help to enable her ability. And what's the last part to say? Oh, I definitely think it's a deck issue if you can't find tomes or relics. Like, you don't have to find... I think if you're trying to find one tome, like you only care about one because it's just the one you're playing around,
Places research
then you
librarian.
play
Yeah.
research librarian.
Yeah.
Like,
But if you're trying to like find a gaggle of tomes, if you're trying to like library Daisy, play her instead.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And also, I'm going to talk about spoiler alert. Research librarian, I think, is on this list later.
Yeah.
Wit and Green does have that benefit where she scales with your deck, right? Not many allies actually scale with your deck as it gets better, but Wit and Green is one of the few allies that does do that. So that I will give Wit and Green her props there. And again, I don't think she's bad. I'll never have any sort of like, what the hell? Why are you playing Witten in any deck that she's appears in? Just in my own personal rating, I kind of just view her as like good, not great.
I should also say, and this is not a surprise, I'm probably overrating the allies that I consider to be design successes, and probably underrating the allies that I think are probably too powerful.
You could say it's the design failures. We can call them that.
Okay, let's call them that. So I think that everything, all the text on Witten is just, it's perfect. I just think there's everything that a seeker could want here without it being too insane.
Yeah, very fair. I think that's a very, very good point for Witten for sure. I think she is just a very wonderfully designed card.
I just don't feel gross playing her.
Yeah. All right, next one we got here. Hey, it's Research Librarian.
Yeah.
You gave him a 6, 7, 8. Sorry, and I gave him an 8, 7, 10. That was a weird 6, 7, 8. You're just counted. That's why I was so. And I went 8, 7, 10. So we were the same for versatility, which makes sense. And big difference on power level and impact.
Yeah. Yeah, just looking at the numbers. Hey, why was 7 afraid of 8?
Because 8, 7, 10.
Joke doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
You're so close.
Yeah.
Anyway, 6, 7 though. There's that.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, I mean, I get it. I'm not an idiot here. I get the search the whole deck just does Bandy's weakness. It gets the singleton, whatever home that you're running around. But you still have to play it. You still have to spend the 2 resources here. If your ally slot's already occupied, that kind of stinks. The 1/1 soak is good to just off him later. I just don't play this guy. Sometimes I do if I really need to, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just draw the tome some other way, like with Witten. But, you know, I think these one-and-done allies are a bit... I probably underrate them, but I just don't like the play action. I feel like it's... what if I draw the card already? Don't play the guy. Okay, fine. But now he's wasting a spot in my deck. But I do see that he's much more powerful than like a Prepared for the Worst that requires you to... draw only look at the top 9 instead of the whole thing.
I think that this guy falls into the category we just talked about as a design failure, because he is like. Yeah. So we have the new, the bad Research Librarian, as Travis calls her whenever he's flipping through the binder.
University Archivist, yeah.
And Travis isn't playing that. He's like, I'm not going to play that card because I think that, I think like you look at the difference between like Wit and Green, what she represents, right? Which is like the idea of that you are playing for like the library archetype where you're just playing a million tomes, right? And the idea for that archetype is that Wit and Green can do it again and again and again, right? But Research Librarian effects are specifically for tutoring for the best tome in your deck, which Research Librarian kind of puts you into a position where you have to find why play multiple tomes when instead you could just if you're playing multiple tomes, you can draw them, right? Like I could just draw them through other means. I could just use perceptions, as we were just talking about the last ones. We can use Wit and Greens. With Research Librarian, it's such a laser beam focused effect that it's why do that with Research Librarian when you could just play a Necronomicon 5 and have it be in your opening hand 100% of the scenarios? Because if you're not going to get hit, you're going to hit Research Librarian, right? And that to me is why this guy got a 10 on impact, is because he is the best card in your deck when you are building for that deck, right? Like, he gives you what you want, and then it lets you immediately start doing that thing. And this is an effect that doesn't exist anywhere else at level 0, right? So, like, this guy is rightfully fixed because of how it is. I wish, like, the University Archivist had secrets and, like, it lets you search the top 6 as, like, a lightning bolt after you played it, right? I think that would be kind of like the nice meeting ground between Research Librarian and Wit and Green for current, right? Because this guy is like Witten, he scales. In level 0, he is grabbing your Grim Memoir to just be able to get clues. But then as soon as you put like 5 XP into your deck, he's grabbing the tome that you spent 5 XP on. So this guy is kind of like an additional... He's basically turning your best card into a double that costs 2 extra resources, right? Like, it also costs 2 actions to play it. And that's very good. But he is very boring. He is too consistent. And it's just that, like, I think that he goes against the style of play for especially someone like Daisy Walker that is more fun than what he represents on his card text. He is an unhealthy card, and he probably should never have been printed like this.
So my guess, and this is just a question for you as well. What happens if you see this guy on like turn 2 or 3, and you've already played your Dr. Milan? What do you do?
Okay, well, that's a great question. So for the real answer is when I'm playing Research Librarian in my deck, he's my only ally usually, because like my book is my ally, right? Like, that's what I do. If I have not hit, so in the case where, like, I think that's a pretty common play pattern where people play Dr. Milan and Research Librarian, and the idea is that you find Research Librarian first. I think that if you have the Dr. Milan in your hand and you play it before you find your Research Librarian or your tome, if you're building around that tome, it's probably a mistake, right, to do that first. Like, you got to wait a little bit, which definitely does cause the issues of... Like, I think my real answer is that if you're in that situation, it's like the Wit and Green not finding tomes. It's a deck building issue, I think, at that point. I think that, like, and say, for example, as well, I did want Dr. Milan and Research Librarian at level 0. I'm taking In the Thick of It for charisma, right? Like, I guess, like, it's more of the thing is, like, I wouldn't get into that situation. And if I was, I'd be like, I need to fix this yesterday.
So I think that's kind of the design originally was, the ally slot is a big ask. And probably with this effect, it's just not.
Yep.
You just play differently. Either you don't have another ally, like you said, or you're laser focused on this guy has to interplay before anything else happens. And probably for my play style, I'm uncomfortable with that. I don't want to, be like, we better draw one of these cards, and if not, I'm not going to play the stuff in my hand on the first turn. But yeah, no, I mean, I get it. This guy, so the best way to play those powerful tomes is to just play those powerful tomes, and I mean, your Norman Withers, like, pull up True Magic with this. It's really good.
Or even his signature and an Astronomical Atlas to get the loop going, right? Like, it's
right, exactly.
But I can see what you mean about, like, not like your play style is very, like, sequence based already, and you don't want to add, like, it's like mine, where it's like I don't like cards that do nothing without something else, and your play style is I have a sequence in my mind, and any complication into setting up that sequence can be very bad for, like, how it is, because I see that I get that completely what you say for Research Librarian there, right? Like, to you, this guy is another piece of that puzzle, and it actually is kind of makes your puzzle more inefficient to solve, which I think is a very interesting thing about why play styles and how people play Arkham is why this game is so fun to talk about.
Yeah, and it's fun to watch each other play, because I know I can see you say, and you had the video recently about mulligans, how quickly you're willing to abandon particular plans because you got something different in the opening hand, and I generally don't play that way, although I know that it works too.
Yeah. All right, research librarian. That's enough time for you. Who's our next person here? I have to quickly also check how many we have here. So research lib. Wow, we're just over halfway. Okay.
Okay.
Next one we got Dakota Garofalo. 887 for you, 766 for me. I think that this one is a pretty obvious thing why I rated her a little bit lower, just for everything else we talked about. She does nothing unless you have something, but that something is very good, right? And I think that's again why, like, I think that she's a good ally. I see the use cases for her. I think for me, the versatility on specialist cards is actually, like, I think very narrow.
Yeah, unfortunate.
It's I think due to the nature of the mechanic, right? So like that's why I got a 6 for her there. And I think that when there is an ally, like there is a monster, like or a creature, she is very good. I've seen you play her. I've seen someone bring her to a game day. I'm very impressed by her. But I think that I think Dakota Garofalo does this thing where the turns where she's popping off are very memorable. And then like the turns that you don't need her, you kind of don't have an ally. And like,
yeah, you need charisma, right?
Yeah, and
otherwise she doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, right? Because like if her highs are very high, her mids can be low, and it's not really a problem. But I think that to me, that's the sticking point, and I think it's just consistent with the cards that we've seen that I've rated, at least on this video that we've talked about here.
It's funny because you look at all of the cards so far, and I feel like this is a combination of cards we've already seen, and this is just I value the extra action, the engage or move very highly, and there's that Wit and Green thing in the 2 stat boost that you only get sometimes. Yeah, I mean, probably I overrate her a bit, but I feel like she just wins a lot of scenarios where you wouldn't have what she gives otherwise. It's very hard to get, I think, that text. I played her in the Longest Night once, and oh boy.
Yes, yeah.
And there's maybe more of that sort of thing lately, so maybe that's why I also feel like she just gets a lot done. But I love an extra move, I love an extra engage, and I love a couple of stat boosts. Just looking at her, who can take her.
Yep.
Do you know that Miguel can take her?
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Bring the creatures into your traps.
Yep. And Izzy can too. She's also a hunter. Those are for some new things. Unfortunately, like there are some investigators who just have no interest in her. Like I don't think Trish does anything. Roland maybe can do something, but I've mostly just played her in Zoe. Ursula doesn't really care.
Yeah, like Trish would be cool if it gave like fist foot, right? Because then like she could use because I think Trish wants enemies at her locations, but I think that the stat boost part is kind of wasted on Trish.
Yeah, Luke is the only other one that I can think of as saying, hey, that the +1 willpower is okay, and you have to be a fighter, Luke, I suppose, but that's kind of cool.
I do like the idea of going into your gate box and then teleporting like to this guy, kind of doing like a Fang of Tirthra, right? I think that could be kind of neat.
Well, I do like that. That's cool.
Also, I just want for people watching at home, like this isn't IGN where a 7 is like a game that's on the edge of unplayable. A 7 is like an ally that I would consider to be good to great in the situations where they're like popping off and just generally. So I don't want people to get it twisted. I'm not here saying Dakota Garofalo is bad. 7 to me is a good ally to great depending on the situation. So just
looking at my rating, I probably should shift that 8 in versatility down to 7 or maybe to 6. Just I do see that this doesn't always work, but it's not just that it doesn't always work, it's just not in as many decks as you kind of would like to have this be. Like if this were a Guardian ally.
Yes, yeah. I think that's yeah. I also feel like Dakota probably could be 2 XP. I think she got Specialist nerfed. And I think if she was 2 XP, she'd probably be an 8 for me. But yeah, because I think she is very comparable to Wit and Green. Like very comparable. And like I think that honestly, give her 3 meat soak and give her 2 XP and we're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
All right. Diana Esperance. This one I think is very, very fun to talk about here. So I gave her 7s across the board, another jackpot for me. And you, hey, why was 7 afraid of 6? Because 7, 5, 6 for you for power, versatility, and impact. So I'll let you start with her.
All right. Okay. So I see the top value here, right? Like you can go crazy with a Deny Existence 5 or just keep refilling her with your Enraptured 2s and whatnot. But honestly, I have not seen her played in a long time, if not really ever, because of the 4 resource cost, the 3 XP, and she doesn't do anything on her own. Like you have to find the other stuff. So I think she's just fine, but I don't think she's particularly necessary for any of the mystics I've ever built. Again, you could do a Spectral Razor, read the signs. Like, there's lots of things you can do here, and I haven't really played the spell event stuff in a while. Like, I've never run through like a Parallel Agnes, and I don't know if this is really relevant for Parallel Agnes anyway, because she can do the recurring loop anyway. But I don't know. I think she's does something, but I've never felt the need to add her to a deck ever. So I just don't see like who wants this. I don't know. Like I can see what the idea is, what you want to do, but which investigator are you playing where this does something extra good? I don't know.
I'm also, I mean, I gave her 7s. I think she's good, but not like great. I think Diana might see a resurgence with some of the card draw, especially if Mystic keeps getting card draw, because then like it's easier to find the spells that you want to attach to her, right? But even then, yeah, it's like this falls into the thing where this lady does nothing unless you have something else, right? And it has a bit more control compared to, for like, to me, like the lowest amount of control an effect can be is enemies at your location, because you can't control that, right? Like you have some control, but it's like compared to Winning Green where it's like reveal a new location, that's pretty easy to control. Have a spell in your hand, that's easy to control, but it's still something that you need to have happen and line up. And if it doesn't happen, you spent 4 costs, like 4 resources and 3 XP to do kind of nothing. So like maybe it should have been a 6 or a 5 going at this for my impact here. But I mean, I've seen Diana do her thing and it's impressive. But I think the big problem with her is just the fact that it's hard to go into her when Mystic card draw is so tight. At least it was. But maybe not as much anymore. I think a big thing is the person that I've seen play Diana to the most extent is Travis. But that's because Travis runs the Scroll of Prophecy, the one that lets you draw 3, quite frequently as the Mystics. For my play style, I can't be bothered to take an action to draw 3 cards. Like, I'd rather play like Guts or something for my own style. So like, right. I have some of that kind of in my head for Diana, but I agree with what you're saying, and I don't even disagree with your ratings here. Like, I think that that's pretty fair for looking at this this ally here.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to say any more about her.
Yeah. All right. Next one here, we got Chuck Fergus. You gave him a 998, and I gave him an 868. So I'm very low on the versatility for Chuck Fergus, and the reason for that is Chuck Fergus, to me, isn't an ally, he's an archetype. And that's, like, the big reason why that rating is so low. Because I think otherwise our power and, like, impact are very similar, right? Like, I think he's a very strong ally. But to me, you're not playing Chuck Fergus as an ally for your deck. You're playing a Chuck Fergus deck. So that really brings down the versatility for me. Because I was looking at, like, to me, versatility was how many homes does this deck have? And anytime I've seen someone play Chuck Fergus, it's because it's him. He's the archetype. That's what they're building around.
That's fair, but I do think that to say that he is the archetype, I think almost any investigator who can take this guy can play that archetype, because there's so many different types of tactics and tricks that even if you're, I mean, there's a lot of them. I think you come from the Winifred background and say, well, you know, they're mostly things like backstab and cheap shot and whatnot, but actually there's a lot that get clues. Breaking entering, like replay that every round and being able to afford it is extremely good. So I've never played a rogue that couldn't consider him. Of course, you have to build your deck around it, but that's okay. I think in my versatility rating.
I think a big thing, though, that also kind of makes the versatility drop for me is that anytime I've seen someone bring a Chuck Fergus deck and they don't draw him, their deck is actual butthole. Like, it's because, like, so much of his design to, like, the economy is also put into Chuck Fergus, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
can
true.
play all these cards because my cards are cheaper. Because I think your assessment's right. Like, any rogue can go into this archetype, right? Do tactics and tricks. And you're not even locked into, like, a specific style of tactic or trick. You can just do what's best for your investigator. But, like Safina Rousseau, I've seen a lot of decks crash and burn just because they didn't draw Chuck Fergus until the end. And it's always a bummer, because he is very fun when you are able to get him in play.
All right, I don't disagree with you there. That's kind of the rogue lifestyle, though,
Yeah.
right? You have
Yeah,
your
that's why you
exceptional
gotta play
card.
Lucky Cigarette Case 3 in all of your
Three,
rogue
yep.
decks, yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. I played him recently in Trish, and he was really good just for
Mm-hmm.
as a solo Trish deck. So throwing out sneak attacks and having them cost nothing was really, really good.
Yep.
But I had to find him. You're right. But good thing Trish has a bunch of seeker cards that can draw
Draw
cards and
cards,
find
yeah.
cards.
Yep, yep. Yeah, no, it's I think he's great. I think he's a great ally, but yeah. Yeah.
I
I
just
don't
like
know
the
much.
guy. I think he feels very fair for like exactly what you're talking about. That yes, if you don't find him, you're kind of it's tough, but sometimes I want things to be tough until you find your key cards. It shouldn't always be the easiest run through.
For sure, for sure. All right, we have one last card here to talk about, and that's Jessica Hyde, which is this one's probably going to be very quick because our numbers are so close.
Yeah.
You got the jackpot this time, 777, and I went 888. So honestly, I don't imagine there's much to say here. This is just like the minorest difference here for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could just
Yeah.
say cool.
I,
Yeah.
I think she's just tougher to get into most survivor decks because
Yeah.
you kind of can do this with other cards, and maybe she's just a bit too fair compared to Peter. So,
Yeah.
but she's really good. I just haven't seen her in every deck where Peter can be put into every deck. Just
Yes.
seems like that it works out that way. If she gave like also +1 agility, then okay. Now she goes in like every deck.
Yeah. I think a big thing is that also, unfortunately, Book is king. Fist is still good, but like survivors can get there with skills with their weapons because weapons usually give better boosts than the like investigating tools, right? So it's like one of those things where you can like play any survivor fighter deck with like almost any of their allies, right? Like it's kind of like the thing where like Jessica Hyde is good, but like even the idea of using her to like live forever is kind of like not even necessary in the survivor class, right?
Not for damage. No.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Like you're playing Silas, you didn't even think about her, right?
yeah. Yeah, I rarely do. Yeah, because, like, again, you can find that fist in other places. You get them through your weapons. You get them through your skills. You get them through your luckies, right? Like, there's all these things that are really good. But, like, with, at least it was. I'm curious to see how this changes with the likes of nautical charts being there, right? Like, there's now, like, a good investigating tool. Like, again, I don't think that this is a conversation that goes against like a Jessica here, but I think that just generally this is also why Jessica is less appealing because Fist is just easier to find for survivors than Book is just generally. And like survivors want high foot. They want like brain, like again, Peter is just so defensive and Jessica is like, she's defensive, but in a way that's worse than Peter Sylvester is. Like it's just for the soak part, which is not, you're not really like dying for unless you're Will York, and if you are, you have a coat that you can just play forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love the hell out of her in Charlie or Vincent, though.
Yep. For sure. For sure. Okay. Those were allies that we had the biggest difference of opinion on, and I hope you all enjoyed this conversation. Any closing thoughts?
I'm willing to like change some of my ratings a little bit based on what you said and just based on looking at the numbers again, because you're right, gut reaction, but also when I see what someone else says, I'm like, do they have a point? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no, but I think a couple of mine I could ratchet up or down a tiny bit.
I agree. I agree as well. There's some that I could change. based on this conversation that we had here. And again, I'd love to kind of just like rescore them in a month to just see how different they are, because I imagine there's going to be swings. Like, that's just kind of like, again, how assessment in Arkham can go.
We'll look at that list, and somehow your Witten Green rating has gotten lower.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, Dustin.
Just apparently I just have beef with her. That's what it really comes down to.
You stole your books.
Yeah. All right, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. You should go check out Daniel's channel. You can find the video description if you've not already checked it out and subscribed. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you for the next one. And as always, GG's.